One and everybody, what's up? Welcome to another episode of ArmTalk. I am your host, Jody William. What's going on? And my guest tonight is none other than Mr. Greg Brown, sir, coming off a Winter Blast this past weekend. What's up, my friend? How are we doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm doing real good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, long time no see. Long time no see. It's been a minute, since Colorado, right?
Yeah. When you tore my arm off in that after pull.
Well, you know what? I mean, we all did some after pulling that day, and my wrist is still sore from that. So, but that's neither here nor there. But the reason why I wanted to bring you on because there's some things to be cleared in the air, and then I also want you, from your perspective, you tell me how Winter Blast was when we have 588 entries from that event. You don't mind, do you?
No, man. Winter Blast was amazing. I'm so happy I made the trip out there. Uh, and just to be there and see what it was like. I mean, I was like, man, the West Coast don't. Now I'm like, the West Coast don't know shit about arm wrestling. You know, like to see all these teams. We don't have that kind of energy on the West Coast, man. People were cheering, people were screaming. A lot of people lost their voices from just cheering their teammates on or just getting riled up and pumped up at the table. But there was a lot of like Eastern Europeans, like a lot of different languages. I pulled against a guy from Georgia. There were some few Czech guys, and it was an incredible tournament, man.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's probably one of the bigger tournaments on the East Coast. I mean, where else are you going to have 588 entries, right? So, you go from a tournament where you had 64 guys in one class, one weight class, to a tournament that had 588 entries. That's a lot of arm wrestling. That's a lot. But before we tap back into that, I want to go ahead and get the white elephant out of the room right quick. So we all know, and I got some things to say about it myself. There is this, let's be real. Saturday was a very eventful day over the weekend, whether you're talking about Arm Gods in that press conference and the thumbtack match to the non-universe, Paul Italia match. And first and foremost, did you hear anything or see anything about the thumbtack match?
I saw it briefly. Like I saw Beer Man go down once and John go down once, and then the press conference. I guess he got hit with the beer can, and the beer can like cut his head.
Yeah, I mean, that was like, what the fuck. And I got my own, I already put my own opinions about that on my separate, one of my soapbox deals on my YouTube. Check it out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, people. But it's just a very talkative weekend for arm wrestling, right, wrong, or indifferent. But you were a part of it in more ways than one. So anytime I heard the name Greg Brown and Paul Italia, then the first thing that comes to me was December 9th, 2023, where you put on an awesome event. And, Paul Italia headlined your event. So you can't talk about one without the other, right? Cool, no big deal. And I always thought you guys were real close. And then all of a sudden now, after the smoke is cleared, it's been like, wow, what the hell? Tell me about the tension, because have you ever been part of a match or actually been in a venue where a super match had about 6,000, 6,500 or whatever money on the line? Have you ever been a part of that before? What was it like?
In all my years, 12 years of arm wrestling, it's been unheard of for two like just random guys. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, for me, like watching from the outside, like I'm just like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening right now. And then um with Paul, he said a lot of things, but at the end of the day, when his name was called, he wasn't there. So I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, take us back to that, because from a viewer standpoint, because I was watching it live, and I have my own opinions, and this is all my opinion before Paul did a live video yesterday. So there were other super matches on the card. And so I thought, that should have been because of what was going on. Maybe that should have been the last match of all the super matches prior to the tournament starting. And, being that it was a bunch of money, yeah, everybody was waiting to tune in. And from a guy who was watching live feed, it was pushed back to, hey, when's Paul and Nanya pulling? This, that, and the other. Hey, when's the match starting? Did I miss it? Who won? Yada, yada, yada. And then it was like, oh, no, they're going to be pulling at 12 o'clock, Pacific time, 3 o'clock, East Coast time. And after that, Paul would say, hey, we want to do it then so all the people out west can see it. I'm thinking, all right, no big deal. From a guy who was watching the live feed, 3 o'clock hit and Paul wasn't there. And so it made things kind of like confusing because Paul did get on Facebook and he said, hey, I'm here. Where the fuck is Nanya? This guy's not showing up. All we saw at 3 o'clock was the fact that Nanya rolls in on the table. Here's my money. He's warming up. Where the fuck is Paul at? So you can even go back to the live feed and everybody's like, where the fuck is Paul at? What the fuck, And even I was like, dude, what the hell? To the point where they said, you know what? Fuck it. Because at that point, it was kind of holding it to whatever the shenanigans were between whether it was Paul, Nanya, whatever the case may be. It got to a point where, you know what? Hey, let's go ahead and continue the tournament, Voodoo says match started at 3 o'clock Eastern. I was there, not in person, but I was there around 12 Coast West time. The match didn't start at 3. That's just where I'm coming from. So
yeah, it was like 3:30 and we were still waiting. And
right.
Voodoo was on stage. He was the guy with the massage gun. So
Right. And Voodoo says he was Greg. I was warming up at 2:45. Nanya did not show, dog. So what did you see on that? Because there's a bunch of conflicting, situations there. And if it's a mind game, that's the problem about, when you have that much money, and I already made a point about this. Anytime, because there was rumors that Nanya didn't have all the money as of the day of, and Dave Schill had to front him some of that money. And that's when I said, okay, hold on, dude. Anytime you have that much money up for grabs in the super match, either A, both competitors need to say, look, here's my half or whatever the case may be. You give it to the promoter or the third party by a certain due date. If you don't make it by that due date, done. You just lost your money. That's how it used to be. So go ahead and take us back. What'd you see and all that kind of stuff? Because as far as I know, you're just reporting everything. Hey guys, this is what's going on. Doing your job.
I know. Well, it's hard because there's like 250 people in the commentary, over 700 people in the room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no matter what, people, the keyboard warriors or whatever, they don't know what it's like to be on a hot mic. They don't know what it's like to be on stage. Sometimes, you don't really know what to say or how you're going to commentate. You gotta have that ability to fly off the cuff. And me knowing Paul and everything, like I'm just busting his balls, man. Like, like one year I showed up late to a fantasy football league draft. Man, I didn't hear the end of that shit for like a fucking year. All my homies busting my balls. And I'm just busting his balls on the live stream, talking a little smack talk, and he took it personal. But okay, so what happened from like it's just I'm on stage filming. They said, "Oh, it's 3 o'clock. We're gonna do the Paul and Nanya match," and then that camera guy who did a great job for the 98 percenters and the live stream. He's like, "Hey, you want the mic? You want to commentate it?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I go down there, I grab the mic, and I look back up on stage and we're just like none of the athletes are there. Like I don't see Nanya and I don't see Paul. And then so they start Boom starts calling him on the mic and Nanya comes rolling in and then that's when we're all on stage and we're all wondering where Paul is. And that was it. He was getting called and he wasn't there. And my thing was this, like if there's all this money on the line, why would you ever leave? Like why can't you just be present for the event? Like I sat there from 12 o'clock till 6 o'clock before I had my first match, and I didn't have. Hey, what's up, Freddie? The young gun. Like everyone has the ability to sit there and wait, except the guy with the $6,500 match. So he waited till 3:10, got impatient, and left. Like, you should have just been there. In Spanish, it says pendiente, estar pendiente. It means waiting, right? Waiting. When
Mm-hmm.
when I come home, when I got off the plane, my wife's like, "How long until you're home?" 30 minutes. Okay. The second I walk in, she's waiting for me. She's just been sitting around waiting for me to walk in like a you know what I mean? And like he should have just been sitting there waiting. That's it. You had one fucking job all these months waiting, anticipation. You're supposed to be a professional. When you get to the promotion, when you get to the event, you have one job, and that's to be present and ready for when they call your name, especially if you're the main event and there's all this money on the line. I don't see it any other way, and he's taking it all personal. Like, it is what it is. He could be upset. I don't give a shit. You should have fucking been there, bro. That's it.
Well, before we tap into why he left, what's this thing about the fire drill going off or the fire alarm or something?
Yeah, he made that some video. He's like, I'm not making excuses, but it's 5 minutes of some long ass story with excuses. None of that would have ever happened had he just stayed at the event. How the fuck are you the main event and then you leave? No, bro, you gotta. If he would have been waiting there and Nanya got called and Paul's standing on stage, it would have never happened. Everyone would have been, where's Nanya? Because Nanya, and on top of that, I was under the impression that, okay, these guys are gonna play game. These guys are playing. Okay, sorry, I was reading that comment.
Yeah.
What was I saying? I forgot. I lost my
Oh,
chain
staying
of
on
thought.
time.
I lost my chain of thought.
Oh,
Whatever.
that's all right. Well, according to Nick Adams, someone's kid pulled the alarm from what he heard. So, but the one thing I didn't understand, because Paul came out, was there in a red maroon shirt, colored type shirt, and then from what we all heard, he left and he came back with like a army green 98% shirt on. My question would be, why did he leave to go change? That's the one thing I didn't understand. And he said he went to go shower. I believe he said something like that. I'm not sure, but I think he said something about he went to go shower or something like that. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
why?
So what happened? He was there at 3:40. He waited till 3:10, got
Yeah.
impatient, and left. He's like, oh, I don't feel like waiting. If Nanya's not gonna be here till 4, I'm leaving. So he went back up to his room. When he got back up to his room, there was a fire alarm pulled only for his room. That's what he said, only for his room. Like, if it had been the entire floor, the entire hotel would have been aware of this, and they would have said, "Hey, there's a fire alarm." 700 people down in the lobby, and life went on, but it was
Right.
only it was only happening to Paul, I guess. So he had to get his dog and the bags, and they went running down 12 flights of stairs. Then they ran up the flight of stairs because he had to go leave the dog and then get ready for the match. When he got back up to the room, he found out that Nanya showed up, and that we were calling his name, but he was real sweaty, covered in sweat. He needed to go shower. He said the main reason why he went up to the room was to catch his bearings. It was going in the lobby. We just didn't care. Oh, all right. Well, yeah, we were all waiting. We wanted the show. The show goes on, baby. During the match with Malono, listen for it. Okay. Well, I mean, I was on stage and everybody staring at us on stage. The attention was on the stage, on Nanya, on waiting for the match. But like, he said he went up there to go get his bearings. And I get that, but you got to be able to do that anywhere, like Kobe Bryant in the fourth, baby. Ice water for blood, dog. You know what I
Right.
mean? He don't go to the locker room and take 5. You got to fucking do that shit right there in front of everybody.
Was it chaos though? Because even I noticed that when Sean Hancock, the head ref, even had to, like, in between one of the rounds, had to tell people get the fuck off the stage, because there's just so much, when you have that match of that kind of magnitude and that much money and that much tension, when you got 588 entries, not to mention everybody who didn't participate, that's a big ass group of people. And Sean, head ref, Mr. Hancock, had to get out and say, look, get the fuck off the stage. Because it seemed like everybody was trying to crowd the stage, Take us back to that. How much chaos was it around that whole stage?
Yeah, it was really chaotic. It was very crowded in that back area. Paul was ducking and dodging, he was trying to get through to the stage. But, you know, if you're gonna do this type of event where you, like I said, the circus, because it's more underground, it's more like not as official as some of the other events, which is cool. There's like a fight club, rawness to it, and just get in there and get some hits in, but yeah, there could have been. And the thing is they only had 3 tables with
Mm-hmm.
all these entries. They had referees drop, and people don't know what it. There, I heard a lot of people saying good things about the event, and then a lot of people complaining. And I'm like, guys, show me where you're gonna get 20 refs, because if you're gonna run 5 tables or 4 tables, that's 8 referees. But for 11 hours, you're gonna need like
Right.
8 on, 8 off, and then I'm sure not every single one of those refs can stay for 11 hours. So then you have like another 4 who come in at the second half to relieve the first half that can't stay for the full 11. But boom, dude, that guy had to have been there at least 12 hours minimum. That was a long day. So not only were they understaffed, there was limited room, limited tables. And never before, like Corey and Boom both said, this is the biggest event they've ever done. This
Yes,
is
and this is even with Corey's bracket system, and Nicholas Adams just said that match should have either been done Friday or Saturday night after the tournament. Now, because Winter Blast is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I'm hoping at some point, if all the planets align next year, I can be a part of that. One has to think, okay, does this need to be a 2-day event? You know what I mean? Because, when you have that many people and you hit the nail on the head right there, referees, right? Hey, how many people can actually do that? Now, if Tim Bresnan wasn't in Ireland over the weekend, I'm pretty sure he would have been there to help ref too. You know what I mean? Maybe Tim Thomas, had he not had a match in Ireland over the weekend, he might have been helped. There's 2 more refs right there, which means 1 more table. But it's getting to a point now, do we need to have so many super matches on a Friday night? That way it's just, hey, super match on Friday night, tournament on Saturday night, or something like that, right? So it just makes me wonder, what do you think could have been done better when you got that many entries? That way you're not there a whole 11 hours. That's a long time for somebody to be there.
Yeah, I think, well, Ryan says it himself. Ryan Grandin from the 98%, he said, I'm still learning every year. I'm growing, and they're doing it better and better. And someone who's just done a super match series and then, 1 or 2 tournaments, I can tell you it's a lot to take on. I think he just needs a little bit more support and just more structure, more planning, because it was already a lot. Like, bro, when I got there, man, Corey had a stack of papers like this. So I think it was a really good idea to have the super matches after weigh-ins or during weigh-ins on Saturday, because
Mm-hmm.
there's that whole like from 10 till 1 p.m. where everyone's weighing in. But if you're already weighed in and you're sitting there waiting to go, you sit there for 3 hours and nothing happens. So might as well have some matches during that time.
Right.
But you need to be like super, super structured with everybody. Like, you can do all the showboating and the shit talking and this and that, but none of this showing up late to throw off your opponent, which, like I kind of said like, oh, these guys are going to play games, antics. I didn't give a fuck when Paul showed up. I didn't care when the match started. I was just talking shit to make it entertaining. If he would have showed up 2 hours late, I still would have been with the same energy. Like, hey, he's in the house, he made it. Oh shit, it's about to go down or whatever. Like, he's taking it too personal. And that's another thing. when stuff's not structured, your entire team needs to be flexible and be able to change directions on the fly.
Right.
Okay. And they did. They kept running matches until they showed up. But I think it was just a lot to take on. And I think it needs to be all the super matches need to be before or after the event. And for me personally, they had like a list of all the brackets and
Mm-hmm.
they were like scratching them off so you kind of knew. But man, shout out to Corey Miller, bro. That guy does so much. It's like I
Man,
kept going. I was afraid to go. I didn't want to bother him. I didn't want to keep going up. But I'm like, man, I've been sitting like 6 hours. When's the 198 class gonna start so I can take my pre-workout? Like, should I order food? Should I go eat? And I think prior they should have more or less ballpark time slots.
right.
If you're supers pro, don't even show up till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. You don't need to sit there for 7 hours. Come weigh in and leave and come back. And then for, like a lot of the people who are impatient and they don't understand, like there's a lot of newer people.
Right.
And I'm like, guys, you don't know what it entails. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that goes into it. But it's great to see with so many new people, there's going to be so many new opinions, people that they just haven't been around long enough to figure out how things work. But it's cool. I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, is this like this guy's first tournament? Because like, I was sitting, there was like a group of people sitting behind me in the
Right.
crowd, and they have like first time vibes, like first time, like you hear them talking. I'm like, man, this might be their first tournament ever. And I met a few people like it was their first tournament. I think as a community, we all need to get behind this tournament because it could be bigger and bigger every year, and it's fucking awesome. And if we could just get it, if we could get guys like Tim Tomage and a few other ones, like imagine Tim and Boom together, right? And then Corey's in there, and we get a bunch of structure and like make it smoother. It could be one of the best events of the year every year, you know.
Oh, and like I said, man, and the statistics say so that the event's getting bigger and bigger. So I think one year they outgrew a venue and they had to go to a different venue because it got so big. And like I said, one of the bigger tournaments on the East Coast, and the 90% crew got a big following. So everybody had a big chunk of people there had their 90% T-shirts on. So it's a big following and stuff. So after Paul makes his statement, F you, Eric, that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, all right. So now all of a sudden I'm hearing, oh man, you should pull Paul. Is that ever going to happen after all this?
I don't know, man. He actually seems really upset. I tried to call him. He, didn't answer my calls, hasn't responded to my texts. So, I guess he took it personal. So, I don't know if I want to do business with somebody. Like, he seems like a diva. I think he's got a lot of great qualities about him. He could be, a really good promoter. He does the podcast. I don't want to take anything away from him,
Mm-hmm.
but if you got a fucking problem, Mister Italian mob guy, I don't know where the fuck you grew up because it couldn't have been Jersey. If you have a problem, call me, text me. But no, he took it to social media, airing out our laundry for everybody. I'm like, that ain't cool. Paul don't want the smoke. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit stronger than him, honestly. Like I pulled him left-handed, and I don't know, my left's pretty injured, and I was still able to stop him. So
And
I
I only
think
say that because I just keep going back to December 3rd, that event that you held on. And I was like, dude, and I thought once that happened, I'm thinking, oh, for sure, Paul's going to be at your event again somewhere down the road. And now we come to this, and it's unfortunate because now it's like, well, crap, is that going to even happen now? And I understand, Paul's kind of reeling right now, and I get it. If I'm a guy that lost $6,500 in a super match, I'll be fucking pissed off and just, I'll be like, what the fuck, So I understand that from that aspect. Nobody really knows but him what's really going on. I did chat with him for a minute. He said he's going to focus on other things now. So, I mean, that's good for him. I hope he doesn't like just vanish and then, maybe he needs to take time off,
What
but
do you
he's
mean?
going to.
What do you mean he's gonna focus on other things? Like he's done with arm wrestling for a little bit?
No, 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 no,
Or
no. He's just like, I believe he was saying, talking about he wants to focus on a different weight class,
oh,
which
okay,
is
yeah.
good,
I was gonna say I think he needs to do more tournaments.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I mean, and since you brought that up, at some point, when do we see, okay, you know what? Enough of the super matches, get some more tournaments underneath your belt. Now, what would happen if you thought, hey, Paul, let's focus on some more tournament pulling, win some of those, and then get some more super matches lined up? Then what? Because he'll pull, you'll see him pull a lot of Florida events, because he spends half time in California, half in Florida. Sometimes he's up in the East Coast, so he's kind of everywhere. What do you think? Do you think he should do more tournaments, then ask for more? Because now it's like, okay, what's going on? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he just I don't I think he's still new, man. I think he just needs to do more tournaments and I don't know. I think he's trying to do the whole rock star life thing because he wanted like a grand entrance and all this stuff for the event. And I'm like, I don't think it's that kind of event. You can't turn a big tournament into a super match event. There can be super matches at tournaments, but it's not like the whole like knuckles up East versus West vibe. It's just have your match here, and we'll give you that tournament spotlight, but not the super match pay per view spotlight. Um,
Well, there's people watching too. So, man, if you just do good, you'll get a call. I mean, I've seen people lose a super match and still get called for another big match down the road. So, I mean, it still does happen. And if I'm not mistaken, did Nanya and Paul like all they did was to show up for their match? Correct? They didn't pull the tournament.
yeah, they didn't pull. And they weren't even there. They both came in and then they both left. So I think Paul was there maybe 2 or 3 hours out of the whole 11-hour event. And like I was saying in my video, if you're gonna be if you go to an event to meet John Brezink and he's like the poster child of the event, and you get there and he's not there, you're gonna be let down. You're gonna be upset because you chose to be at that event to see that person as a fan. You know, and what I was gonna ask you. So, what did you think of my commentary? Because he said it was really unprofessional, that I was disrespectful, that I was a snake. Were you getting those vibes? Because I know Freddie Sanchez called me and he's like, "What the fuck is that guy smoking?" He's like, "Bro, your live stream commentary was lit."
It was
uh,
no different than what your event was in December. Nothing different. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I mean, when you do stuff like, hey, we don't do take twos, we do things off the cuff, we're live, we're raw. If I make a mistake, fuck it, we roll with it. This has always been you. I don't think you did anything any different than you normally do. Maybe because the magnitude was so huge and the spotlight was so hot. I don't know. But personally, I didn't think you did anything any different, than anything else. Because if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, please tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, that same attitude you had toward Paul, did you not have that same attitude when fucking Tom Stubblebine said, "Oh, guys, sorry, we're not going to pull right hand because I heard it. We're just going to pull left hand." You said the exact same shit. You got on him. No one said a fucking thing. Just
yeah,
being
yeah,
real. You did
yeah,
the exact same thing with when Stubblebine announced that, and Freddie's like, "What the fuck?" Did you not? So
yeah, yeah. I
I
feel
don't think
like
you.
I feel like I want to be like that old guy taking jabs at Floyd Mayweather after at the post fight interviews.
Right.
Oh, Richard, Ricardo. Saludos, Gregory Moreno. ¿Qué tal, papi? ¿Cómo estás?
And then Crazy Uncle Jim, he says, "I thought the commentary was great." So
I appreciate the love, crazy Uncle Jim. Thanks for tuning in, bro. I appreciate you.
speaking of Nanya, there was a clip floating out there. Did you hear him? Because when you win that much money, he was emotional. And granted, it might have been winning the lottery, whatever. But did you hear him mention that he wants to pull Odd Larrett now?
Yeah, yeah. They got a clip of me and him talking about it. And then there's another clip. I mean, it's already out there because I didn't want to post it. I didn't want to post it.
Mm-hmm.
Me and I was pulling like 2 hours after pulling 4 classes.
Yeah.
And Nanya walked in. I was like, yeah, I gotta get him on the table. We went 1 for 1. We went 1 for 1
Well,
on the.
if Nanya really wants to take Otten Laird seriously, I'm gonna say this, dude. You better have more than just one move because I'm sitting there watching the event and I'm yelling through my computer like Paul can hear me, but I'm yelling through the computer going, "Fuck, Paul! He's telegraphing everything." It's like, there was times where he forced a rest grip, but he's fucking winding up doing this kind of stuff. You know where he's going. You got to meet him instead of fucking doing this shit. You fucking meet him there. Because then if you drive it in like that, if he's gonna come like this, if you post up like that and go a little side pressure here, it's gonna make him do that. And once you're out here, you're in no man's land. I'm not saying that his arm would have broke because we already had 2 arm breaks that day. But once you get a person out here in no man's land, then all of a sudden, okay, now you can work with it. Because again, man, he did the same move every single match. And I'm like going, come on, Paul. I know he had Sarah McKinney in his corner and stuff, and she's like, "You gotta try something different."
Edo, the legendary Bulkin. Appreciate you, big dog.
Edo, what's up, my man? One of these days, him and I gonna have to get on the table too
I was
again.
just about to say, when's your guys' super match?
Because I like that guy so much, But one of these days, Edo, at some point, you and I will get on the table again, and if we meet at a tournament, we'll be in the same weight class, maybe, hopefully, depending on
Are
what
you
tournament it
coming?
is and what
Are
class
you
they offer.
coming to AZ State?
No, I'm not, because my next tournament is in Dallas, actually, in Fort Worth. The World Series of Arm Wrestling qualifier in July. I'll be
Okay.
focused on that because I got
So June. So June 1st is not enough time.
no. I'm putting all my marbles in on July 13th because me and Mr. Jamie Sheldon got something going on, and and you know how that goes. And Greg Sharp already had the house. Team Sheldon and Team Joy's it's gonna start there, and it's gonna go ahead and continue on. So yeah, if Edo shows up, most likely out, hey, because the weight classes are different there. So if you're 239 class, which is a weird class, the next weight class down is 209. I know good and damn well he ain't 209. I ain't making 209. So if you were to show up, then there you go.
Bro, I'm 213 right now. And I did I think it was like 11-pound water cut for 198.
Damn.
Bro, I was fucked up, dude. I went to Walmart and I forgot why I went there. I was so fucking gone, dude. My wife's like looking at me. She's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Oh, I think I went too hard. I think I went too hard."
Uh-oh, voodoo. Uh-oh.
Nah. Hey, I can't, bro. You're too strong. You're too strong.
So what do you think about, Nanya calling out Auden Laird?
I mean, Nanya's fun, bro. He's kind of unorthodox, and he's like one of those. You can either get behind his craziness, or you just want to see him get beat up. Either way, you're tuning in because you want to see him take the L, or you want to see him go ballistic and catch the win. So I think sometimes you don't need to be the best arm wrestler, but you need to be able to sell tickets. You need to be able to like have people tune in.
Sell tickets. There we go. How does one do that without making a mockery of themselves or the sport? What do you think?
You got to be born like Freddie Sanchez with that star power, bro. Like Matthew McConaughey. There's a famous old video of him at his first audition, and the camera was terrible, but it didn't. It didn't. It did. What did he say? Nanya has to settle
our shit first.
Yeah, he's trying to get a match. We'll see, Buddha. We'll see.
Wait, whoa. Wasn't there supposed to be a belt too?
A belt?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're supposed to be pulling for a belt also along with the money. Whatever happened with that?
I don't know, but okay, so did somebody win stem cells too, or no?
I know that was part of the package deal with that, but I'm like, wait a minute. I know they talked about a belt a while back because they've been talking about this match.
Everybody seems to get stem cells, and it's like I don't even know half of these people. I'm almost up to 8,000 subs, and I haven't had one single discount code. You know what I mean? I need
Yeah,
stem
you
cells.
got more subs than me. So
I did. I need stem cells directly in my elbow. I can't even do pull-ups. But I'm gonna
I
probably
got
go to Matt.
arthritis right here in this wrist right around here. So I'm just like just garbage. But but yeah, they're supposed to be pulling for a belt, but this match has been talked about for the last 6 months, it seems like anyway. But I guess Nick Adams says Paul Cruz won the stem cells.
Oh yeah, you know what? That was freaking sick, dude. Okay, so they did every first, second, and third. If you placed in any pro class, first, second, or third, they put
Mhm.
your name into a hat and they raffled it. I think they did 2 or 3 raffles,
Yeah.
and 3 people won stem cells. That is sick. That's so
Hey,
cool.
so Tim Thomas did that at Washington State this past December, and everybody, open, masters, whatever, if you won your class, you got a free ticket. And then it was like a lottery. so the tournament was done, and they was gonna wrap off a winner, and everybody had their fucking ticket, like, come on, that kind of stuff. And long story short, my name didn't get called, but I had my ticket. I tell you what, had I won that son of a bitch, that fucker would have been framed in my damn on my little mantle back here with all the rest of my trophies back here. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm at 588 entries, and I'm like, man, you can't get any better than that. And I know, you got a whole year to kind of go, okay, what can we do here to make things better? What can we do to make sure it's not, what can we do, just to make it to where, hey, we're not going 11 hours? Because I've seen events where it took so long, they said, fuck it, I'm out. They didn't get their award or nothing because it just took too long. What can we do? Like I said, I think maybe we should probably venture into a 2-day event. Like, okay, hey, have all that. Because now when you add a semi-pro class, I've never heard of that before, by the way, just so we're clear. I didn't know how do we even come upon that? I don't know. I'm not bad-mouthing people who came up with that idea, but I never understood that because semi-pro is fucking basically you're pulling the same people anyway. Amateur, you're pulling the same goddamn people. Never understood that, but just know when you add a class like that, it's like, okay, now what the fuck? Now you're going to have extra long term because you got what? 54, 76, 98, 220, 242, 243 and over. You got 6 classes. Multiply that by amateur.
4
Now you add semi-pro. Now you add open.
and
Then you got
novice.
in the ladies class. So it's like going, when you still add all that kind of stuff up, man, you got to make sure you got enough, people that can stay long enough that can, keep everybody's attention. People that can go, okay, I can ref, but you only got me for X amount of hours. That's the kind of stuff you deal with when you have all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, and we'll need more tables and actual ref. Sean was the only refs there that rest and not good paid for the money.
Well, I think wasn't Ron Klimba there? Wasn't he reffing? And
Yeah,
Steve Walker?
and Nitro, the old man with the glasses, long
Mm-hmm.
ponytail, Nitro, dude,
Yeah.
that guy top rolled the fuck out of me, bro.
I mean, Steve Walker was there. Oh, and Steve Walker is probably one of the best guys you can have in your corner for a super match because his demeanor, like if Steve Walker's ever in your corner for a super match, his persona makes you not want to let him down. It's like you don't want to lose, because he's that kind of guy. I mean, the biggest motivator, and I met him at the IFA Worlds in 2021 in Florida. So, and just having him, root people on, it was like, man, it was amazing. But yeah, but like I said earlier in the show, if Arm Guys wasn't going on, you got 2 refs that were a part of that event that probably could have been the Winter Blast. Tim Talmadge, Tim Bresnan. You could have had a 4th table. So
Yeah, like I think AZ State is one of those tournaments that could get that big as well. He slapped Nanya in the face before the match. Did you all see this on the camera?
I
Yes.
I didn't see it, but
Yeah, yeah. He was like slapping him, getting him all pumped up, you know. And then Nanya, yeah, slap me in the face. I'm ready. Hey, Paul, why you late? Fucking guys crying. Nanya's over here getting slapped. Let's
yes,
go.
sir. Electric
Alex,
person in the house. That's right, baby. That's right. That's right. So, you know,
what do you think about Paul and his I guess his style, his whole social media presence, all the bantering.
I think honestly, in my opinion, it was overwhelming for him because Paul's been known to flash money at matches. And I think this time it didn't work in his favor. And he probably didn't know how to take that, in my honest opinion, because the last time he had a bunch of money flashed out, he pulled Ryan Grondin and walked right through Ryan. Okay, he won, did the same thing again. It backfired. I don't think he knew how to handle that. I don't think that's ever happened to him before, as far as I know. So I think, when it's like, okay, do we need to kind of just take a step back and go, okay, do we really need to fucking focus on how much money you put on super matches? Do you mean, go back to tournament style or whatever? Or is it to where, hey, what should you do? Because again, this is a Paul decision. But I thought that I've never seen Paul in that frame of mind before, where a bunch of money was up there and he actually lost. Because you see him dominate at a Florida tournament. He got his Florida League T-shirt on, jersey, and he's over here whacking everybody in the amateurs and semi-pros. I'm thinking, okay, I'm still waiting on him to go open, honestly. Now I'm sure he will down the road, but you see all that. You see him, December 3rd at your event beat Ryan Grondin. So you really think his trajectory was kind of slowly going up, because remember, he started as a promoter and then he got burnt out of all the political bullshit. Totally get that. And so, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start training for arm wrestling now. I'm gonna start at the bottom, which he did, by the way. Start at the bottom, work his way up. Okay, hey, I beat Ryan Grondin, but you know what though? Nanya was barking, and Paul's like, "Put your money where your mouth is." And now Paul's like, "You know what? Just to make sure I solidify myself, I'm gonna go train with. I'm gonna make a trip out to Bob Brown's. I don't know how many times he went out there, but he said I'm gonna go train with Bob Brown." And here's the thing. As far as the match goes, because it seemed like he went to King's move. Um, Difference between King's move and open top roll. A King's move is more of a situation where, unless you're Michael Todd or Crazy George, don't do it. Right. Um, However, the open top roll, I even thought at times, from a leverage standpoint, maybe Paul should have got a riser, because that way he would have got more height. If you're going to open top roll somebody who's coming to press you every single time, maybe difference between this and that might have made the difference. I don't know, but I would have tried something else. I'm not a big believer of, hey, mate, because you've heard this too, Greg, where people say, hey, same thing, only harder. I don't really believe in that. You got to do something different. And
Find a different lane.
right, when Nanya pressed them, it's like, okay, why should Nanya change? Like, I just beat you with my move. I'm gonna keep doing it until you stop it. That's like how can you say it? And people in the chat, if y'all agree with me, say so. If you don't, say that too. But I just think that when somebody's coming to press you over and over, they are not going to change unless you force them to change, which means you got to come up with something different. Now, with this right here, this might have been a situation where, if I'm like this, way out here, if y'all see that, if I'm way out here and not just coming in like this, that might be the move that beats you. However, if you had a riser, you might got an inch or two up. Maybe he can't get that whole press down because now you're a little bit higher because you have the riser.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
something to think about. I mean, that's just me, but once again, Paul couldn't hear me yell through my computer, so. But
I feel like if you get in the King's move, like his match specifically,
mhm.
his hand just keep getting taken. He kept getting separated. Like I think he was just not strong enough. Like I think he knows exactly how to arm wrestle. So
And
You
again,
know,
I commend Nanya for getting everything in the setup. And this goes back to where, once again, when you have that much money on the line, you gotta have
serious.
you gotta be laser focused in. Okay, whatever fire drill, whatever the fuck, doesn't matter now. Okay, if I was early, he was late, what doesn't fucking matter now. You're here now, it's time to get your game face on. Bottom line. Clifton Erickson, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. And again, so Devil's Backbone says he's a man of his word. He should have stayed down there the whole time. Nothing against him, but it didn't look good for his brand. And again, because whoever was there in person saw one thing, and the people watching the live feed saw something different. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you go back to the live feed, then you saw everybody saying, "Where the fuck is Paul at? Where's Paul at?" That's all
Yeah,
we
and
saw.
there were people in the chat saying this is disrespectful to the event and promoter. I never said that. I said what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
So motherfucker spinning shit, twisting my words. But I don't know, bro. If you had a problem, you should have just hit me up and been like, "Yo, let's meet on the yard real quick."
Well, I mean, like I said, if he was there, fine. But I'm here to tell Paul, it's like, dude, I mean, from what the live feed was showing, that's not what we saw. We only saw the camera was on the fucking stage the whole entire time. The camera didn't pan out to see where Paul was the first time around. That's the point I'm trying to make. And everybody who watched the live feed know what I'm talking about. The camera sat there front and center on the stage the entire time. The only person you saw up there for a long time was Sean Hancock. Like, okay, I kept seeing him check his watch. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Then Nanya shows up, but once again,
that
it
that
didn't
guy's
pan
an
out.
incredible referee, bro. I love that guy. He's so good, bro. I've really learned how to compete in his style.
Mhm.
But I was really off because I was crowding for the strap, and then he would like tighten it and then let go. So then I would kind of like, do my move or whatever, and then he'd come back and retighten it. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
But I kept forgetting that he lets go and then he comes back. But I love his ready go.
yeah. He'll keep you honest as an honest puller. What do you think about this comment? Devil's Backbone. The one thing he shouldn't have done is an explanation video.
Yeah, I don't know. I think so. Yeah, I think he's just salty, bro. I've never lost $6,500 in a match, so I can't say. But why are you attacking me, dog? Like,
Well, my
that's
question would be honestly, if it was for like $100, are we still having a video like that going out there?
right.
Honest
Yeah.
question. $6,500. And are we having that same more or less, backlash if it was pulling for $100? Because bragging rights, this, that, and the other. Because these two have been going at it for months, weeks, and every Friday night, okay, lo and behold, you're going to see these guys on the 98% show on Friday nights, rest assured. So, but hey, all right, Mr. Andre says Paul made a video saying that he was there at 2:45. The match was supposed to go on at 3:00. Nanya called and said he would be there around 4, so Paul left back to his room. So there you
Right. We
go.
we know that. We know that already. Why the
But
fuck would you leave?
maybe he tried to psych him out.
Yeah, and that's what I thought too. Like I was like, oh, they're just playing games, so I'm just gonna be on the mic and just try to sauce it up, try to spice it up.
So
You know?
this comment right here, and I'm gonna say something because this is a very important one. If Nanya said, "Hey, I'm gonna be there at 4," fuck you. Where the fuck is the money at? Hey, Grondin, you're holding money, right? Fuck you. 4:00, bullshit. Give me my fucking half. I'm out the fucking door because we had an agreement. And this is where you got to have. Didn't they have a contract too, by the way?
Yeah, they had a contract, and there was another thing too. Is like as a promoter, if you're gonna do a tournament and a super match, it's hard to deal with so many athletes. It's like like if you have a bunch of athletes, everybody wants their demands met, you know, and especially somebody like Paul. He's got to do things his way or the highway, and I need this and I need that. Okay, well, I can only that's why I tell people, look, I can only facilitate this much. Either meet me in the middle or nothing at all. But this is what I need from you. You can do whatever you want. You can talk all the shit you want. But I need you to be here at this time from this time.
Hmm.
And if you leave, I don't know what to tell you. You had somewhere you had to be, and you left.
Devil's
Invite me to.
backbone puller says, "Invite me on the video, Jody." Well, I will love to, but you need to if you can, you know, Facebook message me. I will send you the link right now. But the thing is, though, but that comment that Andre put out there, this goes back to what I was saying. If there's that much money on the line, bullshit. Well, fuck that shit.
You guys
Four
both
o'clock
should have
my
been there on
ass.
time. Yeah,
Right.
it should have never got to this point.
But see, that also goes back to where, okay, hey man, there has to be an agreement, there has to be an agreement saying, hey man, you're supposed to be here this time. This is why you go, okay, third party. You have the match before the tournament starts, doesn't matter because I know Paul said something like the reason why we had it at 3 o'clock is so all his friends on the West Coast could see, totally get that. But I'm gonna tell you something what everybody knows your match was that day. Everybody knew that. My ass was there early in the morning watching because I wanted to see that match, and everybody was tuned in no matter what. Everybody was going to see it one way or the other to the point where everybody in the live feed, you can go back and check, hey man, what's going on? When's the match? Did they pull yet? Oh, okay, cool. I'm just in time. This, that, and the other, So give me a quick second because
He left after 3. Yeah, I know. We know. we He was getting called and he wasn't there. But I get it, like he might have been there, but he didn't report. He didn't report. How come if he was there at 2:40, nobody knew that he was there at 2:40? We had to hear it from some random guy in the crowd and not from him. If you're there at 2:40, it's not warming up in the lobby. It's because he wanted like to walk in from the lobby and have like an entrance. I get that, but I don't know that you're ready. I don't know that you're over there. You need to be come to the stage. All right, I'm
mhm,
here. I'm gonna be warming up in the lobby. Call when you fucking call me. I'll walk in. Okay, I'll be out there. All
mhm.
right,
and,
I'm
and
here.
and I agree, but I think what's really frustrating for Paul's sake. I don't think Paul understood that, yo, man, you might have been there, but the cameras didn't pan on to where you were at. The camera, the main camera that had all the events, because you got to remember there were what, three different cameras? Because you had a camera on table one, table two,
Four,
table three.
four.
Was it four?
Yeah, four
So
cameras.
if you were there, the live feed didn't see you were there. That's the argument I'm trying to put out there and hope people understand because I'm speaking from the people who saw the live feed. The entire spot was the main stage because you guys were going to pull there. All we saw was Sean Hancock there checking his watch. What the fuck? Nina comes up in here. Here's my money. He's all doing this stuff and, fucking with his hair and shit and doing all that kind of stuff. And, he's all ready. Where the fuck's he at? Blah, 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 blah. And it could have been a very, hey, you want to play mind games?
Right, Voodoo. He said Voodoo says calling him on the mic like you could hear a dog. He was in the penthouse, bro. Right. You're right. He was in the penthouse. He wasn't, you know, on deck, dog. You're fucking on deck. When you're on deck, you come out of the dugout, you walk out, and you sit in that fucking designated circle to let everybody know that you're next. That's why you warm up right next to the fucking stage, or you come in and you just like communicate. So it was a lack of communication. Ryan had a lot on his plate doing this giant ass awesome tournament to be with the athletes too. He should have got look guys, all right, cut the fucking bullshit. No more games. Both of you guys report right at 3. No, there's no putting, no more mind games trying to put people on ice. We need to conduct ourselves in a professional manner.
Mhm.
Everyone just be here when you're supposed to be here. And that's it. But no, there's a lot of fuckery and shenanigans. And that's what I'm saying. When you sign up for the circus, you need to be able to like go with the flow. If it's gonna be that type of thing, then go with the flow. If you didn't communicate all of that in your contract and didn't take control of the situation and communicate, that's your fault. He's like, there's 100 people on stage. You just go up and be like, hey, I don't want anyone else on stage except me, Nanya, and my corner man. That's it. Can we
But
clear the
that should
stage?
have been addressed before between the
But that means,
referee.
and so the problem with that is that there was 2 other tables and the tournament kept running. So the tournament didn't stop. So that's why you saw people crossing, because they didn't shut down the 2 extra tables. He should have said, for my super match, you need to clear off the tables and nothing else going on stage. We're gonna stop the whole show. But I don't, does the promoter want to do that? Because we got to fucking stop a three table tournament for one super match. That's something that you agree on early, and that's where I'm saying going back to, can I facilitate all your needs? If not, there's no deal. Deal or no deal. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. Deal or no deal.
Right.
Because then stuff like this happens.
And going further, yeah, because once again, when you have that much amount of money on the line, you got to make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed to say, look, we got a guest coming on. You ready for this?
Who's this guy? Let's see. Do I recognize him?
Big
You
dog.
recognize this guy? Yeah, you recognize this guy.
Big dog.
What's
What's up, dude?
What's going down?
So with all this going on, you tell me your side. What do you think? How does all this went down? How would you handle it differently if you could?
I mean, I just had my super match last Saturday, and
Congratulations, by the way.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Not trying to build myself up, but my point behind that is we had a set time, right? Mm-hmm. The event itself ran a little bit longer. We pushed it back, but it was amicable between both myself and Robert, between Nate McCallan and Weaver, Cole, and the dude he was pulling. It wasn't an issue to move the thing back a little bit. And in the situation with Nunya and Paul knowing that Nunya wasn't going to be there, Paul should have stayed down below. He should have waited on the floor just like everybody else was waiting. The reason why I say that, though, is because Paul sold that tournament. In my opinion, he was the one who was on Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, just like, yo, come check out this event. 98% is putting on, Winter Blast, blah, blah, blah. Like, in my mind, he represented that entire tournament. Yes. And so he should have been there the whole time. And it's no disrespect to him. Like, I get it, bro. Like, one person's trying to throw shade and get your mind out of the game. Like, I'm not going to be there at 3. I'll be there at 3:30, whatever. Like, I get the antics you're trying to play. But aside from that, you're reaching a lot of people that regular arm wrestlers can't get to because you have the money to push yourself out there a little bit more. That's how you show the respect. Is you're there for the event. You stand by the guys who are promoting the event. And so, like I said, I'm still going to watch it, whatever he puts on, I'm still going to, but now it's going to be an expectation. I think that that's part of his showmanship. He's going to be, a little bit late. He's going to try, whatever in the future. But in that one, the video wasn't necessary. I think it did him in more of a disservice by putting it out there. I get Greg catching a lot of flack for that because I watched the entire stream, dude. Shout out to Sean and Platinum. He killed it. That's who you're talking about with his reffing skills. 11 and a half hour tournament. That was a long day for everybody. But yeah, like that was rough. Watching the video, he created a narrative that I think he's catching more blowback for than even being upset about it. So I think he should have stayed down there and just represented the boys and just been ready to go when they said it was ready to go.
And that goes back to like whatever contract they had in writing or whatnot. And like I said, there was even talks that even Nanya, the day of the event, didn't have all the money with him. He had to go to Dave Shell to say, hey, can you spot me the rest of this? So it's like going, that's unprofessional in my book. It's like, wait, y'all came up with an agreement. And this is why when I got into the sport in 2010, back then, if you had that much money, super matches weren't that much money to begin with back then. It was like, $500 was like a huge thing back then. So it was like, okay, hey, the third party, whether it be somebody you trust or a promoter, goes, hey, you give me your half, you give me your half, and we'll meet. That way, hey, of the $500, $250 of mine is up there. So if I want my $250 plus the winning, I got to make sure I be there. And if you don't show up, then you just asked out your half of the money. That's how it used to be. But when you're dealing with this magnitude of money, there's something got to be like, hey, here's the deal. You know, I'm setting the rule. If I'm holding the money at my event, I'm setting the rules. This is how it's going down. You know, have your asses there at 3 o'clock. And like I said, I don't think Paul understood that from a live feed standpoint, the cameras didn't pan to where Paul was. It was at the stage the entire time. So we didn't know. We never saw Paul. All we saw was that, you know, Sean Hancock, once again, was checking his watch, you know, and Nanya finally got up there, and where the fuck is Paul? He's all doing this crazy shit, getting warmed up. You know, even Paul was like, hey, on Facebook, what the fuck? We're supposed to be at 3 o'clock. Where the fuck is Nanya? So he actually put that on his Facebook. I'm like, you know, Paul, I mean, you know, it looks bad on him from that standpoint. I'm not saying what he did was wrong. All I'm saying is that what the people saw live is not what you saw.
Unfortunately, the cameras don't lie. I agree with that. They don't lie. They weren't. But you can say, and I'll say this, I did hear him around, I would say quarter till 3. You could hear him talking in the background when he was over near the practice table. But, you know, if he got word, the way I would say it is, it was just played out poorly. If he got word that Nanya was going to be late, then there should have been an announcement instead of Sean being like, all right, we're getting ready for the super matches. They're taking place at 3. We're clearing the table, because he's sticking to the original plan. Right. They should have ran that audible. They should have been like, yo, we're gonna stay this right now. They're moved to 4 o'clock. And then they told Nanya when he came up, no, man, you guys are now at 4. Instead of letting him get up on the stage, because then that just exacerbated the whole spectacle. But
because then all of a sudden he's like, what are we doing? And even people in the chat, I was one of them, like, oh, okay, it's about time. Here we go. I'm thinking, what the fuck is taking so long? Then they were like, you know what? This is going to be a long event anyway. We haven't gotten to the pros yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. Let's go ahead and run some more brackets then. You know? Yeah. So, but again, that's just coming from me. And like I said, this is not a ragging on, you know, Paul Italia session over here. This show is to kind of iron it out, because, Greg, you were there in person. You know, I was there as a spectator from not there in person, but from a live feed standpoint, you know? Yeah. So Ray, you saw it, you know, or what did you see? Like everybody else, you know. So
I support Greg in this one, and this isn't a slight against Paul at all. But when you have somebody, it doesn't matter who asked Greg to come on board and start running the mic and hyping things up and talking about what's going on. The moment you put somebody in that position, that's a qualified immunity. You know what I mean? Like, he's the dude who's saying what he's reading online. He's the dude that's just hyping up the match. So he shouldn't be held to account for what everybody else is saying. Like, Paul definitely is singling Greg out in this mix. And I saw that Greg posted a video in response, like, yo, man, I tried getting a hold of you. I think that if it does need to be settled on the table in that regard, cool, I'm all for it, because I love the sport. But I don't want it to be a spectacle of hate and all this other nonsense that goes alongside. Right?
Yeah. Well, here's a question, you know, to both of you guys. Because, you know, Greg was doing what Greg does. Yep. Did you see the match between back in his event, December 3rd, where he had Tom Stubblebine and Freddie Sanchez?
Yeah, Greg's super match event?
Yeah.
Of course.
So you saw what Greg was doing. Like, what the fuck? You know, Tom, you're going to sit there and do all that that was bullshit. And, you know, and fucking Tom got, you know, fed to the dogs on that bullshit. Now, here is the $1 million question. I want you two to answer. I want everybody in the chat to answer also. Okay, honest question. If Paul would have won this match, are we even having this discussion?
Nope.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not pointing the finger. I'm not, you know, chastising the guy. I'm not pointing. If Paul would have won the match, are we even having this discussion? I mean, just seriously, because it's like, you know, Greg's doing what Greg does, you know? So Greg is actually commentating for the people who are watching on live feed. Honestly, he's the play-by-play guy, because Greg knows, hey, the camera's on the main stage. There's the table that they're going to pull on. There is the head ref watching. He's basically commenting. Matter of fact, I think he was right by the table, right next to Sean. Honestly,
I also feel like a part of the commentating and reading the chat is to connect with the audience. So just like giving people a voice, knowing that they're being heard. I think that's a big thing, because when you have fans, not saying, hey, Greg and Paul both rock. Thanks, bro. Okay, there's sometimes I go into chats or like live streams and I comment and none of the comments get read, but you got 100 people choosing to tune in to your show, and you don't give not one of the 100 people in the chat the time of day. So
Mhm.
For me, it was just like trying to connect with the audience more. But you know, I don't know. Saray, sorry to change the subject, bro. How
No,
you
you're good.
feeling, bro?
I feel great.
Yeah,
I feel
you
fantastic.
how do you feel about possible upcoming opportunities?
Bro, I called your ass out. I tried to call your boy out on the whatever you were on 2 days ago, talking about setting me up with Rocco. That dude got lucky. I slept, I was sleeping on him. So yeah, no, that's one of the shout outs, bro.
All right, check it out. Well, Rocco actually tore his bicep.
Oh, lame.
Yes,
That's
he's
because he
out.
was getting ready to pull the number one in New Mexico or Mexico, right? Like that's what was
Correct.
next up for
The,
him.
s- the super heavyweight champion of Mexico is named
Gotcha.
Sergio Aguilar, and that's gonna be my second Super Series, which is happening May 4th. Which now there's nobody to arm wrestle him.
Let's go. Cuatro de Mayo, homie. What's up?
Not to mention, there's $1,000 for the overall.
Okay.
Woo.
Where is this at? What's going down? What's up?
This is happening in Mexicali, Mexico, which is
Border
you go
town.
to border town. It's like kind of right by Yuma, Arizona. If you're in San Diego, it's like a 2-hour drive. But yeah, bro, it's gonna be epic. Actually, well, I don't know where they're at, but I got some sick ass medals too. They kind of look like the Las Vegas medals, but
Okay.
instead they just say Mexicali. But
Dude,
yeah, I
send me the
ordered.
info. Send me more info. I won't let you down. I definitely have leveled up way, way more since Colorado State last year, and unfortunately for Robert, he got to feel that. So
Yeah, I know. When I came to your house and to see all your training and like how dominant you are at the practice, like dude, I could just feel the horsepower, bro.
yeah,
And I've actually gripped up with Sergio Aguilar
yeah,
recently, and I don't know, bro. Unless he was going easy on me, I think you could take the crown there.
yeah. I
But
love the confidence.
no, but the thing is nobody wants to go down there and steal the ship. You know what I mean?
It ain't nothing but a thing for me, man. I love Mexican food, and I'll take a Mexican victory too. I'm all right
Yeah,
with
bro.
it.
If you come, I'll take care of you. And I'll help you out and stuff,
All
and
right.
we can
Yeah,
make it
man,
happen.
I'm definitely interested. Send me that info or come by the house, man. You know where I live. Just
Yeah,
stop
I'll
off.
be out there. I'll be out there this weekend. But so it's May 4th. Is that too close for you?
No, that's fine.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about it more. That's exciting because
Sounds good, brother.
you're gonna be a crowd pleaser, bro. Because Mexicans are small.
I know. I've got property in Madera, dude, and I feel like a giant when I walk out there. I got like 4 hectares, and so when I walk out and we go to any of the haciendas to eat or whatever, I'm like this, and everybody's like here.
Yeah. And and it's crazy because a lot of the top guys, aside from Sergio, there's gonna be a lot of the top guys in the whole country. They're all flying out.
Nice.
Yeah, so you're gonna have like maybe 6 of the top 10 all in one place.
Oh well, I get to hold hands with some great dudes. Sounds good.
You see that, Saray? You get to come on my show, and all of a sudden, somebody's going to gift wrap you a couple events coming up. You see how that works out?
Hey, I appreciate you, brother. Hey, good looking out. Well, it's hilarious to me because I've been commenting on your videos for a while, but I don't think people recognize that I am Devil's Backbone Pullers.
Well,
Right,
now I know because I didn't know who
Yeah,
that
I
was.
didn't know who Devil's Backbone.
Yeah. So, but that's what it is.
Now I know. Now I
Yes,
know
sir.
who Devil's Backbone.
Well, yeah, you tagged me.
How'd you come up with that name?
Well, so when I founded the team 2 years ago, when I started arm wrestling, I live in Loveland, or lived in Loveland, and there's Devil's Backbone Ridge, which is right behind where my house was. And then I moved to Berkeley, so I just kept the name. But yeah, Devil's Backbone Boulders was with the backdrop that we had in all of our early videos was the Ridge going in the background. So just became a natural. That was the name.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I tell you what, just want to thank you for coming on the show so we can clear some things up, because we got some feedback from people who saw the event live stream. We got feedback from people who were there in person. We got feedback from the people in the chat. So I think we can put a bow tie on this bad boy. I know Paul's going to go live on his show on the Armless and Buzz Wednesday. Don't forget to check it out, by the way. He'll just go ahead. He'll briefly go over that. But I know Uncle John will be his guest on there, so we could talk about his performance on his first ever thumbtack match over the weekend. So
little arm gods.
Yeah. So there's that. So don't be on the lookout for that show. So guys, want to say we've been on here an hour, 10 minutes. I want to say thank you, everybody in the chat. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show. It was a special edition. So you know me, because sometimes I come out of nowhere with a show. You never know. So but Saray, Greg, thank you for joining me on the show, you guys. And Saray, you and I need to get together one of these days so I can have you, so the focal point can be on you. So you
anytime,
and I can talk shop.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
All right.
Appreciate you, Jody. Thanks, man.
Yes.
Saray.
Gentlemen.
I'll text you.
Yes, sir.
Take care, guys. See you guys next time.
Yes,